Well, hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Alicia, there you are again. First in line. So, Connie, hugs to you. Julie, hello. Kiri, good evening. Oh, you guys are just all saying hi to one another. That's wonderful. Shady Hill, hi. Thanks for being here. Dave, there you are. How is everyone tonight? I have been. My day was kicked a little bit sideways, but just work wise. So I'm a little bit frazzled. But I got 1 hour of downtime with you guys, and it's going to be good, right? Oh, I've got that 60 minutes with my peeps, my friends, my fellow homesteaders and gardeners. Good evening to you. We were sunny this morning. Now it is mostly cloudy, but we're about 65 degrees. Chance of some light rain tonight, but oh, thanks, Alicia. Hi, Michigan Daffodil, if you're listening. Hey, Tim, hello to you. Party. Oh, yes. I wish we could party. Oh my goodness, that would be so fun. Virtual parties are not quite the same, right? And so anyway, we've had an up and down week weather-wise. We were really cold this weekend. We had frost 2 nights. And hey, Nightcrawler, hello. Oh, Alicia, good. I am so glad. Is it okay if I tell everybody what the difference was? Just let me know, yes or no. I don't have to say anything. But anyway, yes, we were chilly this weekend. I mean, like wearing coats type of chilly in the low 40s during the day, frost at night. Today it's about 65, like I said. Tomorrow, again in the low 40s for the highs. So I think because low 40s or low 50s, I can't remember. But then for the weekend, for the holiday weekend, it's going to warm up and rain. Yay! But it just means that everything is going to just explode even more. We've got lilacs that are all budding out. They've got clusters on them. The trees, I tell you what, in just like 4 or 5 days, the trees have leafed out about 2/3 of the way. They've gone from nothing to just green. Things are just going like crazy. Oh, wow, Dave, you sure were hot. Oh my goodness. Those days are so hard when you go from freezing to all of a sudden 90 degrees. It's crazy. Hey, Matt and Sarah. Hello. Patty. Hi. Oh, it's Matt. Oh, I see Matt and hi, Matt or Sarah. So, oh, Matt there. Okay, good. Alicia, did you say yes or no? Oh, yes, sure. Okay, thank you. Alicia's radishes are doing great too. Wonderful. Okay, and you've got strawberries coming. Super. Oh no, it's Matt. My strawberry plants are going like crazy. I haven't even been able to get out there and do this stuff. I have got so much work going on that I'm putting in easily 18-hour days. And I haven't been able to get outside to take care of things, but hopefully this week is going to be the last week. And that's what I'm shooting for. That's what I'm praying for. So I'm hoping that that's going to happen so I can be outside a lot more. You have flowers on yours? Oh, nice. I don't see any white blossoms out there, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. So the grass is growing really well. Trees are growing and budding like crazy. So what Alicia was referring to was that last week she mentioned that she was having some trouble with her tomato plants just not growing. They just kind of stopped and stunted and they weren't really doing anything more. So she sent me a couple pictures, messaged me on Instagram, And from what I could see, I'll just use my cup for example. She had like the plastic solo cups that she had transplanted her starts into. And so we'll pretend this is a solo cup. That's just too high though. So anyway, what had happened is she had her dirt down about here, and then the plant was here, but it's a solid cup around there. And so it was hard for the light to get into the stem of the plant as well as down to the soil and everything. So um, what was happening is that the plant was trying to reach for the light, so it was just getting leggy and leggy, and just the stem was the only thing growing. So no energy was going into um, the leaves or maybe even the roots. But and again, not as much room down here for roots. So I told her to just take those out, fill it up to dirt or fill up the soil to maybe an inch from the top or something, and we'll put it back in and fill. I should start to put enough soil down here and then put it in there so the soil would be about an inch from the top of her cup. And so she's got a lot more soil down into the cup. The plants are up, and she just said they're growing well. So, anyway, newbie tip. So, Alicia, I'm so glad that that's helped and that that's working. So, hey, Gil, hello. Um, oh, you're welcome, Alicia. You're very welcome. Yeah, and you're new to it. That's not something that probably anybody ever said anything about or, talked about. So, how would you know? We just say, okay, transplant it to a cup, start it in dirt. But it's like, well, how much do you put in there? And you think that you have enough for the roots, whereas the whole plant needs, more than that. So it's totally all good. And this sounds like they're going to flourish now, which will be good. So you can have probably another couple weeks in those cups, and they should be good then to transplant into your planters. I think so. Oh, good. Okay. All right, Patty. Well, drive safely. Glad you're just listening. Oh, you're inputting too. Be careful. uh, but you're very welcome. Um, yeah, it's, just all those kind of little tips and those new things and, um, things that the rest of us have kind of learned along the way, or we just kind of take for granted, and we just don't realize that we have to go back to, step one or step two. So it's all good. Alicia, we um, don't think anything less of anybody who doesn't know. We were all there at one time. So we're glad to be able to help. Absolutely. Matt, yes, I know. Memorial weekend, right? Time to plant. Well, when we were having frost the last couple nights, that just reinforced to me. So here, 21st and 22nd of May, we're still getting frost. And that is very often our last frost date. So it just doesn't pay for me to get out and plant any earlier than Memorial weekend. So just want to give it a chance to warm up, warm the soil, and do its thing. And with our long days, we'll grow like crazy. We'll definitely grow like crazy. So Connie, you said you had issues with hardening off. You didn't harden off enough and they got damaged. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. If they um, have enough strength in them, they will regrow their leaves and everything. But yeah, hardening off, that's the hardest thing to deal with, is like you don't want to spend a week hardening stuff up. It's like, okay, they're right size. You want to get them out in the garden. And it's like, I have time now to plant. Let me get out there. But instead of, and so many of us are not even home during the day to be able to take the plants out for an hour and bring them back in. Put them out for 2 hours the next day, bring them back in, put them out 3 hours the next day, put them back in. We just don't have time in our schedules for that kind of thing unless you are home all the time. So that is very difficult. It is. Hey, Tim, good evening to you. That's your next step, hardening off. Yep. Um, the If I have to have mine out during the middle of the day, I mean, it's best to get them out in the morning when the sun isn't as strong. But if I have to have them out in the middle of the day, I try to put them in a place where they're going to get some shade, to get a little bit of direct sun and then some shade so they can get used to the heat, the wind, the air, all that kind of stuff. So, um, Alicia, that would be best. I mean, you can still plant them if they're 6 or 8 inches high, but the key is that you really want to get a fairly strong root system going. So once they're in there, they can just take off. Dave, you said you hardened some things too quickly and got a lot of wind burn this year. Oh, yeah. And like you said, they will generally recover, but it takes a long time. So just, you know, Dave, are you guys still working from home or are you back out in the field now? Julie, then you see my Facebook gardening pics. What's wrong with my plant? Yes, it's burnt. Oh, that was actually going to be, I was looking at a lot of sunburn memes earlier. So my prep tip actually is, no, my garden tip, sorry. My garden tip for tonight was to wear a hat and use sunscreen when you're out in the garden because the height of summer is very, very close. And you can see what it does to our plants. It fries them up and everything. It also can do that to us. So you guys be careful out there in the strong sun. And I know for myself, I don't like wearing a hat. I get really hot. I want the wind through my hair. I just enjoy being out in the sun and the wind and everything. And it's just not good. Just not good. So, okay, Dave. Well, I'm glad that you guys are still able to be home. That's good. That's good. I know. And if you put things out, set a timer either on your phone or on your stove timer or something like that for how long you want it to be. Because I know for myself, I do that for when I'm running my car in the winter to warm it up, to, if I have to run a faucet for a while to clear a drain or just anything. I will forget because I get back to my computer, get back into my work, and time just goes by and I totally forget. And so I have to set timers for myself. So do that for hardening off too. So when you're in the middle of something else, you're cooking, cleaning, working, whatever it is with kids, you just won't forget. So that really, really does help. Oh, Matt, I'm so sorry that you lost a lot of the onions. You got hit from that storm too. I know you lost some along the edge there from the rain coming down. I'm sorry that you lost the others. That's no fun. Tim, you just got tomatoes in the ground? Yes, very good. What is your frost date? Your last frost date out there in Virginia? I don't know if I have anybody else that comes on that's from Virginia. Dave, I caught that. Otherwise, you could blame it on Buck, right? There you go. Oh, Connie, yeah, that's tough. So you wear hat and long sleeves, right? Yeah, I'm sure. You have to remember to wear gloves when operating the tractor. Oh, that is a big deal, Gil. Oh my goodness. Yes, that would be. Because you're out driving around, and you think you're protected everywhere else, and all of a sudden your hands. Ouch. Yes. I can't, and looking at all those pictures today, I can't even fathom the depth of the burn that some people had gotten. It's just, whew. I mean, I've done my own in my have my own burns in my lifetime, but, were blistered and stuff, but, to see people with, like, full body burns and stuff is just like, oh, so painful. Um, Also, if you're buying plants from a nursery, they will also burn in the sun if they were in a high tunnel. Yes, so do harden those off too, because you think that, well, if they're in, an outdoor greenhouse or something like that, that they're all ready to go. Not necessarily. So good point, Julie, thank you. Um, Kiri, your zucchini plants aren't doing well. One got eaten mostly, the other plant wilts between watering. They're near a fence by the goat paddock. Goat ate the leaves. Oh, you've got so many animals around there that it's gotta be hard to protect your plants because they're doing what they do naturally. They eat greens, but they don't know that these greens are okay and those greens aren't, right? Oh, I'm so sorry. Um, May 1st, okay. Yeah, it's always so smart to just give yourself an extra week or 2 after what they say because you just never know what the weather's gonna do. I mean, last year, by the middle of May, we were at 100 degrees already, and, this time, we're a little bit closer to normal this year, but there have been a lot of days that have been below normal, so, I mean, definitely we were way above normal. We were about 30, almost 40 degrees above normal last year. Oh, so hot. So hot and dry. Um, you make sure you go in and out of the sun. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a very good idea. Hey, Patty from Southern Blessed Homestead. Hi. And you're driving too. Both our Patties are on the road. You guys just be careful out there. Um, we've had cold longer this year. Yes, you have too. Absolutely. You have an 8-foot fence that keeps deer out, but small animals sneak in. Yep. I hear you. To keep them out from the squash, you could probably do, um, you know, try to rig up something that you can put, a fabric cloth over to it'll still get the sun, still get the rain and everything else, but it'll help keep well, the goats will eat the fabric though too, won't they? Um, be kinda interesting. Oh my goodness. So, as a teenager, you wanted a suntan, but you put baby oil. Oh, no. Um, oh, I know. They think baby oil well, all your other teenage friends say, "Oh, baby oil," and they don't know any better either. Uh, yes, Julie, that's a great idea. A good a high raised bed of rocks. There you are. So, I've got a lot of links below in the show notes for the things I'm going to be talking about. But we're going to talk about the different kinds of fabrics, the different kinds of things that you can use to help protect your garden, whether you have a full in-ground garden or raised beds or whatever it is. But I'm just going to show you, excuse me. I'm going to show you a sample of some of the things that I have in the fabrics, and these are not by any means everything that's out there. But um, do your research, figure out like what weight you want of fabric, what size you need. If you need, a 4 foot by 25 foot, and that's all you need, or if you need a 20 foot by 100 foot piece of fabric, that you want all in one piece. That's completely and totally up to you and what you need. But there's a lot of different things that you can have, and I have used most of these. One thing I have not used yet, but I have the material, so when I need it, I will use it. Now, a lot of you know that I have raised beds, and I rebuilt them at the beginning of last summer. I couple things I did with them is I put some PVC holders on the inside of the beds, and I also put PVC clips on the outside of the beds, and those were specifically to have the ability to put row covers and fabric, to protect the vegetables or the beds or whatever it is against frost, against bugs, against all the elm tree seeds that fall, which is going to be within the next week. So I have to get out, prep my beds, and cover them, and get those all ready. One of there are different weights of things. So I'm going to start with the kind of one of the most common things here. It's a seed and row cover blanket. Now it's lightweight. And it protects up to 2 to 4 degrees below frost. So if you're just going to get down to 28 degrees or 30 degrees or something, but you know you're going to get a frost, this lightweight will do. If you know you're going to get down to 20 or 15 or something, this won't protect from frost. You're going to have to do something more. But I'll show you some pictures here of what it can do. You can put it over frames or just over your vegetables. You can do different things to it. This will help to keep, again, from the frost. It helps to protect them from, different bag. I can't say it. I'm trying to read and talk the same. Some will protect you against bugs and different things like that. So this one is a 5 by 25, and I've already cut some off of this one, but you can see how, now that's 2 layers here. And you can always double up a layer if you wanted to, but you can see how lightweight this is. It's, what is it? Does it say what the material is? I think it's just a polyester type of something. But you can put this over, and I did this one year actually. I planted like all my green bean seeds, and then I was going to have to be gone, and I knew that it was going to possibly get a little cooler. And so I put this over the bed, no hoop or anything like that, but I put this over my bed and anchored it down. And when I came back, I mean, within like 5 days, not only had they germinated, but they were up about 3 or 4 inches. So it created kind of a little bit of a greenhouse effect in there. It held the moisture and the heat in from the sun and everything. And this is porous enough so that when it rains or you water or anything like that, it will go right through. So you can see kind of the texture of this fabric. Yep, a nice greenhouse effect. So it's very porous. And it's really pretty strong. Okay, so I'm yanking on it. It's not going to tear easily. This is another color. It's a little bit heavier weight. You can tell. You can see that this is a looser weave, and this is a little bit more of a tight weave. And it's a different color. This has a natural thing to it. So again, like I said, do your research for what you need. Is it a mesh or plastic? It's not plastic. It's almost like a spun something. not really fiberglass. It's not telling me what the ingredients are, so I'm not really sure. If anybody knows, I don't know, Tinker's wife, if you know, or anybody, Dave, it's a mesh of sorts. So, Dave, you have a similar row cover that you use mostly for birds, chipmunks, and strawberries, as well as to keep lettuce cooler in the summer. Yes. So, you can use it for a number of different things that will help. So I've got these two things. This hole was, it didn't tear. It was just in there from something else. Probably my scissors. All right. Then the next thing I have, some of these that I got on Amazon don't have, they only have this little tag here. So this one is actually an insect barrier netting. And it says it's only 6.5 feet by 25 feet. But it's really, really big. And it's about the same, covers the same area as this one. But you can see how much more in volume, it is. It's much stiffer too. Now this is what it ends up looking like. And this is kind of just as netting. So I don't know if it's like a woven plastic, but you can see it's got more substance to it. It's stiffer and everything else, but that will keep out any bug that can try to get in there. It will also allow the light through, and it will allow rain through. So, but if you have a real problem with bugs, if you even wanted to, say you get squash bugs really bad, and you want to set up a frame of some sort or hoops or something like that, and just keep this over that while it's growing, you can certainly do that, and it will help. I don't know, Kiri, do goats eat plastic and this mesh stuff? I mean, would they eat this? I know they eat like fabric, cotton and stuff like that, but I don't know what I know goats will eat about anything. Thank you, Julie. Thanks. So yeah, this seems to be a little more porous, but again, it's stiffer. I mean, you're not going to get, I don't even see how aphids could even make it through these holes here. You also use something like that to cover your colored broccoli, keep cabbage moths away. Yes. Again, Alicia, the cost, I got these at least a couple years ago, maybe even 3 years ago. You're just going to have to research and figure out what size, again, let's say what size you need, what weight you need, what kind of thing you want. And one of the links I have below there is talks about all these different kinds of things. So sorry about the noise. So you can figure out what is going to be best for you. So yeah, they're really not all that expensive. The one thing I do, because I have beds, raised beds, I will take these and cut them to just a little bit bigger than my bed, or what I need for it to drape and clip down on the side, so that I can have that size, and then I can use it again. So as long as you don't get it, tangled with a lot of weeds and filthy and all that kind of stuff, you just, because you're just covering it to keep everything away. When you take it off, save it, use it again next year, so that you're not going out and trying to buy stuff every year. Hey, Minnesota Mama, hello. Thank you. It's time to unwind. Yes, it is. Alicia, yes, I got I think I got almost all of mine from Amazon. So, goats taste stuff to see if it is food. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. I just see, all these pictures on TV about it, but goats will just eat everything. They'll eat metal, they'll eat wood, they'll eat, but maybe maybe they're a lot more discerning than what they're portrayed as. Um, hello to everyone. Okay, what else do I have? So, again, we've got these two little mesh ones and then this insect barrier. So you can see the differences in the weight and the stiffness and the flexibility. If you have an area that you need to kind of fold and wrap around and everything, you definitely want something that's more flexible like this and lightweight. And again, think of the weight that would end up being on your plants. I mean, you could use like an old sheet too in case of frost, but you also want to make sure you prop it up on stakes or something like that, because when they get wet with dew or cold or rain or anything like that, they're going to have that weight sitting on top of your plants, whether they're bean plants or tomatoes or peppers or whatever. That can end up breaking the stems right off, and then you lose the plant. So, yes, Alicia. Yep. So this one's more for bugs. These two will protect more from frost. So, and again, these aren't have-to things. These are just aids for your garden. Okay. Now, the next one. Oh, one of the things that I, let me check my notes here. Oh, there we go. So this all-purpose garden fabric, it is a polypropylene cover. It transmits 70% of available light. It keeps the heat in, the bugs out. It's also an excellent windbreak for young transplants. So if you're able to anchor this down really good in case of stormy weather, that will help. It allows rain and overhead irrigation to reach plants and soil. Again, it can be cut with scissors to fit over everything. So this lightweight is a summer weight fabric. Doesn't trap as much heat as like the all-purpose one. Can be used all season to defend your crops against birds, insects, and the spread of insect-borne diseases. So that we're talking about the really lightweight summer one that I had, the first white one. It transmits up to 85% of available sunlight and will not block rain or overhead irrigation. Again, it forms a barrier between insects and susceptible plants, but it doesn't trap much heat, which is good, because if in the summer, you don't want it trapping the heat. So, but again, it will protect a certain amount with the frost. There's another one that's called Garden Quilt. And I don't know if anybody's ever used one. I've not seen it and I haven't used it, but I wanted to just tell you about it. It's a thicker version of the all-purpose fabric. And again, it's polypropylene fibers. Again, it's a little thicker, provides protection down to like 24 degrees Fahrenheit. It only allows me in about a 60% available light. So it's nothing that you want to keep on them all day long. It's just like all of a sudden, oh man, like this weekend we had this frost come in. You might want to cover things, that type of thing. So you've noticed your goats ignore poisonous plants. Oh, they chew paper and other stuff, then drop it off. It's not edible. Which bug barrier will hold up? I think this more of a plastic one that they said was an insect barrier. That one would be really, really good for bugs. And like I said, it's more stiff. You could, clamp it down on something and it's going to kind of hold its shape a little bit better, I think. Let me just try to crease this, see if that would do anything. Oh, look at that. Made a nice little crease. So you can kind of almost shape it. Look at that. I just shaped it there. So, so anyway, that's pretty interesting. Like I said, it's got a stiffness to it. It's wired. Yeah, but it's all plastic. So, uh, kids learn to stay away. Like to pick and eat. They're just rough. Okay. He's having goat talk there. That's good. So the thicker fabric, the garden quilt fabric, is really ideal for extending your growing season in the fall. Um, you can help to insulate the strawberries, herbs, perennials, small fruits, other tender landscape plants really all winter if you're in a climate that only gets to, the low 20s during the winter. Um, but I'm just trying to think, Julie, that might end up helping to protect some of your things if you had a garden quilt for late frosts or even all winter long. It'd be interesting to try. So, okay. Hey, Debbie, how are you? Ooh, making pizza dough. Nice. Matt and I'll be over for supper. Okay, the next thing that I have is shade cloth. Now it's quite a bit different than this. Again, this doesn't let in 100% of the light. This would, but these don't. But there's sometimes when you're in the super heat of the summer, if you're 120 degrees in July and August, and you just need something to protect your tomatoes and your peppers, you can put some shade cloth up higher. You don't want to put it like right over your plants or anything, but if you can put it up a little higher, um, it can help to protect your plants from the intensity of the sun. It'd almost be like kind of being in the shade of a tree for a little while. You can, I'm just trying to think, you can make, say, you have a bed or an area and you can put in some tall stakes and maybe just somehow attach that to the stakes and have like a roof kind of type of thing over that. Think of, I know all of you have seen this, but like over a patio or an entrance to a building or something, they'll have posts up, and then what goes over that are just beams that might be at an angle, and they're just beams, and there's nothing that protects it from the rain, but whatever angle of the sun is hitting the worst, it ends up casting a shadow under there. So a pergola, okay. Canopy of pergola, yeah, pergola. So thank you, Dave. So it creates kind of, think of that in a shade cloth thing. Not that you want it like a row cover right over it, but something that will cast shade. And so here is what it looks like, and this is not expensive either. What size did I get here? I got 10 feet by 6.5 feet. So it was going to do a few of my beds, not a lot, but a few. But anyway, I did use this over because it was so hot last summer. I did use it for a while over my peppers, and that did seem to help. They weren't getting burned anymore, so that seemed to help. Now this is what it looks like. Okay, so hello. Is that one layer or two? No, that's just one layer. So it's got this, it's all plastic again, but it's just got this this weave going on here. And so it allows the rain to come through. You get some light coming through, but it creates an area that's a little cooler, probably 5 to 10 degrees cooler underneath this than what the sun would be beating down on. So, and again, you can just cut it with the scissors. Very, very easy to do that. You can open it up wide. It's one of the reasons I didn't get a huge one, but you can open it up, measure out what you need, cut your piece, and do that. Now, a lot of these you can get like a small amount. You can get, I don't know, a 6x8 or something, or a maybe even a 2x4. What the thing I it's been so long since I've shopped for them, so I'm not sure. But and then you can get huge things too. But get what you need. I mean, if you have a total garden space of 50 square feet, don't go and buy 300 square feet of cover, right? So because it's like it doesn't make sense. You're not going to be using it all, right? So plastic bug net. You're welcome, Mama Bear. You're welcome. Yeah, so there's, and like I said, what I have here is not by any means everything that you can get. So do your research. I have a few links down below. But yeah, on Amazon, you can get just about everything that you want. A lot of the other seed companies, I think a Garden Supply has stuff. You can go to Lowe's or Menards or Home Depot, any of these places in the garden center, they've got all that stuff. So Green Dream Project has a shade cloth over the garden. Yes, they do. And they've got it over their chicken coop too, to be able to protect their chickens from the hot Arizona sun. They've, there's so many different uses for it. If you need to even cover your patio a little bit from the intense sun without buying this expensive extension from your house, put some shade cloth up or something. All right, Gil, thanks so much for coming. If anybody wants to catch Gil in the next hour, he goes live too. So, but yes, so we've got that. Okay. Now for any of these, like I said, you can create a hoop. You can, some of them are light enough that you could just lay right over the plants and use, branches or T-posts or something to anchor them down on the side. I mean, I did that for years. Last year was just the first year that I'm starting to build a hoop and clamp type of system for myself after 27 years of gardening. So, it takes time. Do what you can when you can, and and just kind of think it through and kind of plan, and don't just jump out and do, oh, well, that person's doing that, so I've got to do that. But sit and look at your situation, what you have and what you need to do. Like Alicia, if you have things in containers, but they need protection, you could do something like getting for some, like if you have pepper plants or something, peony cages are really, really good. They're bigger than tomato cages, but if you stick one of those in your pot and it's up high, you can actually put a cover around that, because then you already have the framework there, and that could certainly work for you. Only 26. I know, Julie. I'm just a newbie at this. So, those are some things you can get if you can find them at garage sales, or, even, if you put in a couple stakes and just do a wire frame around there and make your own frame, just get creative with what you're able to do and what you can get. I don't even know, in the way of garden equipment and everything, what is not available right now. So things are changing. Yes, Mama Bear, there are. They're a little bigger, a little wider around. I think they call them peony cages, but they're more durable. They're a thicker wire than the tomato cages, and there aren't as many tiers going up. I think there's 3 as opposed to 4 or something like that. Um, something in the realm. But, yeah, check out to see the differences there. Cattle panels can be useful to tie shade cleat on. Yes, absolutely, Julie. Thanks so much. Yes, if you have, if you've got 2 cattle panels in there or even one over there, and then just put the shade cloth over it. Easy peasy. If you already have that established in your garden, absolutely, go for it. Go for it, go for it. Okay. On to, well, any more questions on any of the cloths covering everything? Let me look at my notes here, see if I had anything. Um, oh, the shade cloth too, or they also call it shade netting. It can affect the lush, moist flavor of homegrown lettuce, making it bitter. So the hot summer sun can do that. A few days of hot sun will make it bolt, and it can ruin it for the rest of the season. However, the shade cloth, it cuts the summer sun by 50% while allowing cool air to circulate freely. If you use the hoops and everything to support the fabric, you can secure it with clothespins. So easy. Um, so anyway, shade netting is also useful when starting late season crops at the end of the summer to give the seeds that extra thing that they need to. You went cattle panel crazy. Oh, Connie, you have just done an incredible amount, you and your husband, in your yard. I mean, for anybody who says, "Oh, I just live in the city, I can't do anything," or, "I have a small yard," you gotta look at your garden and what you've done. You've used every bit of space there, and it's just amazing. Just amazing. Um, so let me see. Any other tidbits here? If you're using support hoops, be sure to pull the row cover taut over the hoops and then bury the edge as well to keep the fabric secure during windy days. You can also clip the fabric to the hoops, again with clothespins, if wind is a problem. Yeah, we had 100-mile-an-hour winds. It can be a problem. Seedlings should be monitored for moisture and fertilizer and everything. Then pull it back for thinning or weeding, and then just cover it again. So as the weather warms up, make sure you check your plants to make sure they're not overheating. This is especially important when it comes to cool weather plants like lettuce and broccoli and everything. Remove the cover if you see signs of overheating, wilting, leaf damage, blossom drop, that type of thing. I remember that, I don't know how many of you follow Kevin and Sarah on Living Traditions. A couple years ago, they started using this fabric row cover over hoops, they had tunnels for their broccoli and their cabbage and their cauliflower. And because they had just been fighting bugs every year with that, and it just destroyed them. Well, they did that, and they had such success. It was so great. They were so excited, but they covered it down really well. It helped to keep more moisture in the ground. They actually did get plenty of rain, but they also have like a drip tape system or something like that. So they didn't have to really worry about watering. But every once in a while, Kevin would go in and check on them, and they were doing great. They didn't overheat. They also had a weed barrier cloth down in there too on the ground to help with the weeds. So between the cover and the weeds, they grew such huge things. They were so good. A few more eventually. Okay, Nightcrawler. Hey, you started some of your tomatoes too early, and now they're 2.5 feet tall. Right? Um, you can plant. Um, if you can only dig like 1 foot down or something, dig like a little trench because tomato plants. Let me see if I have something I could show you here. Not really. Tomato plants, their stems, you can actually put them down and then lay them horizontally towards the bottom and then bring them up. You want to make sure you don't like kink them so that they break there, but lay them down and then bring them up to the surface of your soil. So dig down and lay them and then bring them up straight. Now you want to clip off all but like the top 2 sets of leaves because you want to bury it as deeply as you can so that you would probably end up with about 6 inches, maybe 6 or 8 inches from over the top of the soil. So when those go down, you can go down 12 inches. You can even go to the side 12 inches. And those will all send out roots. So anything that's under the ground will send out roots, and you will have an incredibly strong tomato root system. And it will grow up like crazy. But make sure that you stake it right away or whatever you're going to do, stake it or cage it, because you will know where the stem is that you laid down, and you don't want to put a stake right through that stem. So for the root system. So if you're going to stake it, make sure you know where that's going to go. That's why I do it right away. A lot of people will just get them planted, and they'll say, well, I'll come back and stake them when they're a little bit bigger. Well, what happens is that their root systems have gone out, and now when you put a stake in, you're damaging that root system. So take the time to do it all right away, and you'll have so much more success. So Dave, you said you use the row cover on lettuce on hoops with the sides rolled up so they get good airflow. Cuts down in the sun, but they stay cooler. There you go. And with lettuce, you don't have to worry about bugs as much like you would with brassicas or squash or anything like that. I know, Alicia, right? It was about that time last night, or maybe even a little after 9 or something. I'm looking out. It's like, man, it feels like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's crazy. Hey, Eli. I guess the weather's so nice that I know that it's going to be hard for people to get in here. You just pluck off all the leaves that are below the dirt. Yes, absolutely. You're welcome, Nightcrawler. So, again, if you're covering something for the season, you just can't forget about the bees, though. So, again, you want to temporarily lift off the fabric or something, maybe for a day or whatever, a couple days, or just during the height of the bee time activity during the day, and then cover it back up or something like that. So you want to make sure that you allow them to get in there and pollinate and do their thing. All right. I think that's about it. Okay, so weed barrier. Oops, there we go. Alrighty. Okay, so there's a lot of different things that you can use that you can put down as weed barrier. You can put black plastic down, which, sorry, this is a big one here. This is 500 square feet, this roll. So it's a 25 by 25. I didn't want to take it all out because it's hard to get back in here. But again, just plastic. It could be a landscape barrier, but what is this? actually call this vapor barrier, but it's for landscaping, construction, different things like that. This is a 4 mil, and that's one thing you want to look for. Where do I find that again? I know I had it. Nice and big, right there on the green part. It's 4 mil. Or 101. What is that? I don't know what that stands for. Anyway, you can get lighter weight ones. You get 2 mil or 3 mil or something, but they're not going to be as much of a barrier. And then also you can, get that, cut it to the size of your row. You cut it to, put it when you're building say you have a new bed or something, a new raised bed, you can line the bottom of it if you want to help keep weeds from coming in, and then fill it up with all your stuff. You can put it in between your rows to help suppress the weeds. You can put it around, for landscaping around stuff. Just whatever barrier you want. But the heavier mill that you have, and that's black, it's going to keep the weeds down. If you go with a clear, use it only for frost protection, because clear plastic will act like a little greenhouse and it'll make things grow even faster and more lush and everything else. So you do want to be careful of that. So the last thing I'm going to show you is it's a fabric weed barrier. It's a row cover. So you can see that it's got this weave on the front here. So it's a fairly tight weave, but it's enough so that it keeps the weeds generally from coming up out of them, but it will also allow water to get down through. Now this has a kind of a felt background. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. So you can see the plastic front and like the felt type of background. What that does is it helps it. Ooh, got felt all over my computer now. That will help to keep it in place on the ground, because once you put this down on dirt or wherever it is, it like sticks. It sticks to the ground there. So exactly, solarization, absolutely. Then flame weed, baby weed sealers. There you go. Yes, the black plastic as well as this, you can take what do you call it? The little flame thing. I'm tired. Sorry, it was a bad day. You take the flame thing and then lay this down and burn a circle in here, and then plant your plant right through there, and instead of trying to plant all around it and stuff like that. So the blowtorch. Thank you, Julie. The little flame thingy. There we go. All right, Alicia, thanks so much for coming. So anyway, those are the things that I have that I can show you, and little update on my onions. They need another haircut. Look at these babies. I mean, they've grown like almost 8 inches in this last week. I cut these at least once a week. Haircut at least once a week, so that they can keep getting bigger. Those are my Walla Wallas. Yeah, my other ones are even bigger. But the reason they're kind of bending over is because they're hitting my lights and going beyond them. So I need to trim them once again. So anyway, you guys, that's it. Our hour is over. Can you believe it? So prep tip for tonight is grow what you eat and preserve what you grow. So all right, you guys. Those are frost tolerant. Yeah, I know. I'm really waiting for the bulbs to get a little bit bigger, and I'm really glad I didn't have them out when we got our storm last week. That was a nasty storm. So it would have demolished them. So hey Michelle, at least you didn't call it a doohickey. There we go. Thanks, Debbie. All right, you guys, you take care. God bless. Always have hope, and we will see you maybe next week. I'm not sure. Check my community page on my channel to see if I'm leaving a message or not, because it's not only Memorial Day, but I have to be at my dad's taking care of him that night, and I may not be able to get on. So just because that's kind of prime time of his caregiving. So anyway, so I may not be able to be on next week, but we will catch up with you, and you guys have a great week. Bye-bye.